Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Well, it'd be good if I'd turn the page so I could read what I wrote.
Turn the page.
Well, a very good Saturday morning to you, and welcome to the world of confusion. Live from Studio A and inside the Sugar Shack World Headquarters. It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, we hear about a thing called Cell Gaurd, a battery health monitoring system. You're going to be listening, EV owners? This is all about you.
Yep.
Jeff has a segment on affordable 60s muscle machines. Conrad has the racing calendar. We'll take a look at the car clinic as well and have the stories making automotive news headlines this week. We're going to stick it in just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Dziekan. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad that you could join us. And we've got a full lineup today. We were talking about what are we going to do next weekend, because next weekend is a holiday weekend.
Memorial weekend.
What are we going to do? We don't have any guests because everybody's out doing stuff.
Yep.
The full lineup, is that like one of those things where you walk the prisoners through the suspects?
Full lineup,
full
yeah.
lineup.
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what came to mind.
Well, and that would come to your mind.
It would.
Yeah, because we're all basically former prisoners.
Attica.
We're prisoners in our own minds.
That's right. All right.
And our first prisoner is...
Yes, exactly. Joe Holdsworth, he is the founder of a company called Metis Engineering. And Joe, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Glad you could join us. Thanks so much. And please don't pay any attention to the fact that we have no clue what we're doing here.
but we've been not doing it for 13 years.
Has it been 13?
And we've been given awards for it,
By
too.
the way, we just passed our anniversary.
We did. We didn't even talk about it.
May the 7th, 2011 was our first broadcast.
Like passing a kidney stone.
It hurts.
It is that. So Joe is the founder of a company called Metis Engineering. I said that. And got a product called Cell Gaurd. Joe, tell us what this is. Explain it to everybody, because I don't really understand it all.
Yeah, sure. So the sensor is meant to detect the early stages of thermal runaway. So I guess maybe you've seen some things in the news where you see some EVs catching fire. The early stages of that is called cell venting. And this sensor aims to detect the cell venting in order to help reduce the chances of these things catching fire, essentially.
How does it
monitor? Yeah.
How does it monitor? How does it monitor that sort of thing?
Yeah, so the intention is for it to sit inside battery packs or near. Usually, you have some sort of vent port on these battery packs. Sit inside the battery pack or near the vent port, and it looks for the gases that are emitted by cells when they vent, essentially. So that's how it detects it. It's got other methods of detection too. If it's sitting inside a pack, normally you'll see a pressure increase because of the volume of gas produced by the cell vent. So it can detect it through the gas emitted or through the pressure increase from the gas emitted. It's got several methods, basically.
Well, I don't personally understand how an EV battery works, lithium-ion batteries. Can you give us just a brief overview of that?
Yeah, so in EVs, you've got battery packs, lithium-type battery packs, and normally I say normally, but you'll have something called a battery management system. People might know it as different things, but what it does is it monitors cell voltage and cell temperatures. And when you put your car on charge, or when you're using the car, driving the car, it will be the BMS, or the battery management system, that monitors cell voltages and cell temperatures. And from that, it can infer state of charge and also how fast it can charge itself or how fast it can discharge. Normally, if you're measuring voltages, that can be used to kind of indicate whether you've got a problem in the pack. But basically, pack arrangements are such that I don't want to get too technical, but you can have a lot of cells in parallel, which means that lots of cells put together.
Yes.
A voltage you might have a problem with one of them, which might show up as a voltage, but because you've got a load of them together, essentially the others mask the problems of the one cell that's got an issue. So in the short term, it's harder to detect you've got an issue. The other way of doing it is looking at the temperature of the cells. So that's another thing that the battery management system does. It looks at cell temperatures. But battery management systems don't measure all cell temperatures. They'll typically measure at best 1 and 2. It's a lot less than that normally. So usually you're missing out cells that could be getting hot, but not getting measured by the battery management system. And the reason for that is to reduce the amount of electronics that's in these things, and also to keep the costs down in terms of the manufacturers of these packs.
How many cells does, let's just use the Tesla Model 3, since that seems to be the pretty common one. How many cells are in a Tesla Model 3, for instance?
I don't know the exact number, but hundreds.
Hundreds, okay. I'm just trying to get an idea. Is it 30 or 100? And obviously you say hundreds. Gotcha. I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that I wanted to make a point of, when you talk about battery venting, the first thing that comes to my mind is the lead acid batteries.
Does the same thing.
It's the same kind of thing that's going on in a lead acid battery. Yep. So
the outgassing of the battery has to be managed, and I guess what your device does is it measures the outgas. Does it measure what the gas is, or just the pressure of the gas?
So a lot of chemicals are emitted when. So unlike a lead acid, which will have a port in it and can vent essentially, most lithium cells are never intended to vent. So what happens is that if the cell gets too hot, usually depending on the cell type, so you can have a cylindrical or a pouch, the pressure will build up, and then the cell will eventually vent either through a vent cap on the cylindrical cell, or actually probably tear a little hole in the pouch cell and vent. That then will emit gaseous electrolyte, and the chemicals that come off that are actually very wide ranging. This sensor looks at volatile organic compounds and is sensitive to a whole range of chemicals that are emitted at the cell venting stage. So to target a specific chemistry is quite difficult. Yep. It will usually be cross-sensitive to lots of different types of chemistry, basically.
And in a battery that has, let's say, 200 cells in it, is your device measuring each individual cell, or is it measuring the case of the cells and any gases that are happening in the case?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it kind of alludes to how it works. So basically, unlike a battery management system, which will have to actually have temperature sensors on each cell, and voltage, physical connections to the cell to measure voltages, this sensor is non-contact. Because it looks at the gases, it doesn't actually have to be connected to the cell. It just needs to sit inside the battery pack itself.
Okay.
So in terms of I say retrofitting, you're not going to retrofit it to a Tesla, but in terms of being able to fit it to a battery pack, it's relatively simple. The communication protocol it has is called CAN bus, which is obviously widely used on most vehicles. So essentially you put it in your battery pack. One per every 80 litres of free air volume as such. We recommend somewhere near the vent port on the pack, and then you connect it into the CAN bus, and it will basically indicate whether you've got an issue with the pack. It also looks at air temperature, it looks at water ingress, and has some other useful parameters for the pack itself.
How do you monitor that inside the cabin of the car, in your instrument panel, or a separate gauge?
Because it sits on the CAN bus, right? It will be sitting on the data bus of the car. It's up to basically usually it depends on who's doing it, but let's say if it's a vehicle integrator or someone's producing low volume EVs of some sort, they'll then take that data. They'll put it through a vehicle control module, which will then make decisions on that data that's being fed from the sensor, whether to disconnect the battery or warn the driver on the dash or something like that. It becomes up to the vehicle integrator at that point how to display to the driver. But yeah, a warning on the dash essentially.
So you're basically looking for your device and get a relationship with the OEMs to use your device in their vehicles, not necessarily as an aftermarket, hey, you've got an EV, come buy my product and attach it to your EV, because the CAN bus connection and all of that intercommunication with their modules is a little more complex than a person could do on their own.
Right. It depends on where, it depends on, yes, it's targeted at vehicle integrators. And what we've seen is that it's quite hard to, convince a big OEM, to take up something like this.
I worked for General Motors for 25 years. Believe me, they're of the mindset, if we didn't think of it, nobody needs it.
It's not a good idea, yeah.
It's also, it's just hard to, I suppose you can appreciate if you've got, General Motors, God knows how many employees, they've got thousands.
Too many.
And it's hard to find, the one person to speak to in all of that, to explain what this does, and then to get the pickup. And then it's such a juggernaut of momentum that it's quite hard to change course quickly. So we kind of see pickup in small to mid-tier kind of integrators. And also, General Motors would probably want to develop something like this themselves, not come to, a small company such as ourselves to do it. Whereas mid-tier to small companies, they're more integrated, so they'll buy a battery management system off the shelf and integrate it rather than develop their own one, if you see what I mean.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind about all this is the fact that, say, for instance, Amazon is going to change their fleet to mostly electric, and it seems to me that would be a perfect fit for you guys to sell your battery management system to them, because they've got a lot invested in these electric vehicles that they really need to monitor something like that, because my gosh, we're talking about $30,000 batteries here,
and the post office is doing the same thing.
It's expensive, isn't it? I mean, like we talk about write-offs. We have a variant which is in development and released soon, which has an accelerometer on, so that's targeting the instances where you have a bump in an EV, the battery gets written off because that's the safest thing to do. But actually, did you need to or not? And it's very, very expensive to replace. I mean, the battery, I don't know what the percentage cost of a car is for battery. It's got, plucking it out of the air is like 30%, where it's a huge cost of the car itself. So to just, bin one of these things, it's expensive for the insurance companies. So it's, that's the other thing the sensor does as well. So our hope is that people, I think again, it's a developing market, isn't it? And people are still learning about EVs, owners themselves, the developers of them, and we're hoping we're in at the stage where actually they can see that this is actually a useful product to go with their battery management systems to offer, extra protection in terms of, thermal propagation, also, do we need to get rid of the battery pack because it's had too big of a bump? Has it got water ingress? All this kind of stuff. So, and this one sensor can measure the lot.
And what does it look to me? And a little drawing here that I've got. It's just basically a pan, is what it looks like.
I don't know because I've got one on my desk. I don't know. It's about the size of a matchbox.
Oh my gosh! So that's it.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now, what kind of sales success have you had so far?
So we've handed out, because we released the product in November. So at this point, we've given out, I don't know, probably around 500 samples to varying sizes of OEMs. Some of them very big, some of them quite small. Sales looks good where we've sold them into them. We see them come back and buy more. What we're trying to do now is increase kind of the awareness that we exist. So I think we could do quite well. But I think part of that is because we are a small company, we have to try and raise awareness that we're here, because unlike somebody who's large, we've got a limited amount we can spend on marketing and things like that. So,
well, I know that we've charged you a tremendous amount of money to be on the show this morning, and I'm sure that's going to go into the coffers and be well spent, don't you?
Yeah, I'll send you a sense.
Don has his own outgassing problem.
But it's a different kind. Exactly.
And it will pick those up as well. Someone suggested I should sell it as an off-gassing product for humans.
Well, they do have a great success in fart machines these days, from what I understand. So
considering how small that is, which surprises me, and you mentioned that it can validate that a battery's still good. It's not cracked or anything like. Is that?
I think.
I know that's not necessarily what you initially went after, but is that something that, say, a claims adjuster or somebody could use while they're evaluating the vehicle?
Yeah, so I think we would say, the more data you've got on it, the better. So you would use this still in conjunction with the BMS. So you'd still look at voltages, you'd still look at temperatures. You'd also go, is that, you'd look at that and go, is there an issue with a cell? And then you could cross-check it with this sensor to say, okay, we're seeing an increase in VOCs in the pack or an increase in pressure. Go, yeah, it looks like we've got an issue here. In terms of insurance companies, so a couple of the companies that we're talking to at the moment are insurance companies, because it's not even on in the area of, well, how can we look at adjusting, looking at premiums for these things and figuring out risks with them. It's simply because some of these guys have to go and do crash testing or are involved in crash testing themselves, and at this point we're giving some to an insurance company that want to look at the post-crash vehicles to see if this battery packs are any good in them. We've also sold them into labs or test houses where they'll go off and test EV packs. So actually, the first intent was to put it in vehicles, but insurance companies, labs, and also any energy storage.
Well, I was really thinking
storage as well.
More like a portable tool that if I'm the adjuster and I have a client that calls says I had a wreck in my EV, I want to go out there and have some sort of portable tool to plug in.
You need a sniffer. Yeah.
A sniffer,
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what this variant is, which goes on to post-crashed cars, essentially, to check that that there isn't some sort of breakdown over time of the pack and etc. But yes. Yeah.
Well, Joe, we find what you're doing fascinating. I've learned a lot here today, and we wish you the best of luck. For those that are watching our show or listening to our show, is there a website we can go and get more information on your product?
Yeah, metisengineering.com.
That's METIS. Yes, engineering.com. Yeah. Well, Joe, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for the education this morning, and that it has been, my friend. And we wish you the best of luck. Stay in touch with us and let us know how things are going.
Yeah, let me know if you want a sensor, guys.
All right, we'll do. All right, we appreciate you. Joe Holdsworth, he's the founder of Metis Engineering. Fascinating.
Yep.
Pretty cool idea, because you got to think, would there have been an opportunity for any of the OEMs, and I'm thinking GM specifically, with the bolt runaway fires from the thermal runaways, might his device have predicted it before?
Well, you would think so,
happened? And that's.
But what do you do? So, you got knowledge that the thing is on a runaway, meaning that it's going to explode or melt down or whatever.
Just get out.
Well, thank you.
Big sign,
but you'd also shut the system down.
How can you do that?
From what I could gather from what Joe said, his device is totally a separate device,
right?
And it communicates with the vehicle. So his device could say, "Hey, something's wrong," and the vehicle could start opening circuits and disconnecting.
But
stuff.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to determine it at a level that's critical, it can just the slightest amount
Correct.
would be a notification.
And that
Before
level
it
could
gets
be
critical.
variable by whoever the OEM
There's
is.
you're green, there's
should've
yellow,
asked
and then there's
him.
red.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Should have.
He's still on.
All right, time now for.
Yeah, he's listening, going, I wonder if they actually got what I said. Yeah, we did. We did.
Time now for the In-Wheel Time race card, sponsored by Texas Nostalgia Modified Production.
Right.
And this weekend, NHRA is in Chicago. What Eric is seventh right now
Yes.
in qualifying, and they're going through qualifying round 2 and 3 today. Also this weekend is the North Wilkesboro All-Star Race. First time NASCAR has been back to North Wilkesboro in some time.
That's this weekend? Oh, that's good.
NASCAR, that's the series where everybody gets a trophy, isn't it?
Except for Ross Chastain. And did you read any of that? That Hendrick somewhat threatened Ross Chastain this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be
because
it's going to be flag to flag this week.
Yep. And then Formula One is at the Romanian Grand Prix, and then on the 28th is Monaco. You got to remember, Memorial Weekend is a huge race weekend.
You betcha.
And Kyle Larson, the NASCAR driver, he won the championship a couple of years ago. He is actually going to do the double. He's going to run Indy in an Indy car, and then he's going to go to Charlotte.
Next year.
Oh, is that next year? I
Next
thought
year.
that was this year. Okay. And then to go do 600 miles. So do 1,100 miles in one day. And then Laguna Seca, friend of the show, Alec Udell, he finished third last weekend at Laguna Seca, and then the Indy 500 is Memorial Weekend as well.
All right, time now for Jeff's feature today, and that is affordable 60s muscle cars.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And as soon as we get this going here, we will just plug that in. Roger that. The original muscle car era lasted for less than 10 years, but undoubtedly everlasting mark in the industry. Muscle cars were built to be fast and look good doing it, just like me. This one here, we've got a 1969 Dodge Charger 500. Mike, this was 13.48 seconds in the quarter mile. This car, brand new in '69, was $5,200.
Ooh, that was
Today,
a lot.
if you wanted to buy one, be it a Mecum or a Barrett, you're looking at about $230,000 or around that area. Ooh. Most muscle car fans know the Dodge Charger lineup well, including the Wild Charger Daytona from '69, but Daytona's predecessor, the Charger 500, which was far less known and far less successful in the '60s. Dodge was desperate to put NASCAR on their platter with the Charger. The standard Charger with deep grille and concave rear glass needed to be aerodynamic, so Dodge decided to introduce the limited edition 500. They named it 500. Why, Mike? Because they only
500.
made 500 of them.
Oh, did they really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. It came with a flush grille, fixed headlights, and regular rear glass to improve the aerodynamics of the car. The Charger 500 came with 2 engine sizes, the 440 and an optional 426.
Hemi.
Go ahead, Mike.
Did you know, useless trivia, did you know the original name of the Dodge Charger before it came out as a Charger?
I did not.
You go.
It was a Monte Carlo
Oh, there you go.
when it was first proposed.
This one here is a 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 302. Mike, this was 14.41 seconds and 1,320 feet. Brand new, this car was $3,950. Now it's around $70,000. The third redesign of the Mustang appeared in '69 model, and it grew larger. The Mustang kept growing larger and larger. The engine choices and equipment lists were thoroughly changed. The Mustang lineup concentrated in 2 directions. The luxury was the Grande notchback. The other was the Muscle with 3 new models, the Mach 1, the 429, and the Boss 302. Also, Ford introduced the legendary 428 Cobra Jet engine as a regular production option, putting the Mustang among the fastest muscle cars of the era. The Boss 302 is the most important model, produced only for 2 years, Conrad, 69 and 70. The Boss 302 featured 302 V8 engine, which was a conservative 290 horsepower.
And that was all about going SCCA racing with that 5-liter engine. Same thing with the Camaro Z28.
And this one's for you there, big boy. 1969 Oldsmobile 442, 14.20 seconds in the quarter. New on this rascal was $3,300. My brother had one. Not a 442. He had just a Cutlass. Now you can get them for around $40,000, depending on condition. At the time, Oldsmobile was under GM's ban to forbid them from the company from putting engines larger than 400 cubic inch displacement in an intermediate vehicle. This meant that the popular 442 model couldn't be featured as with the biggest engines available. Due to that, it was inferior to the Mopar muscle cars, which did have the 440 cubic inch under their hoods. However, 69 Oldsmobile 442 was not slow by any means. It was a 400 V8 engine, pumped 325 horsepower, and it was enough to be competent in the quarter mile.
Whatever that means, competent.
Well, speaking of competent, here you go,
I'm
Don.
incompetent.
This one's for you, Don. Got my pages mixed up. There you go. This one's a 69 Corvette L88, 13.3 seconds in the quarter.
It's $1 million car.
$6,500 brand new. Yes, Conrad, it's $1 million plus right now. Even though the first big block of the 427 Corvette left the factory in 69, it was further refined with 4 levels of power in 69. This list started with a 390 horsepower 427 V8, ended up with extremely rare, powerful L88 427 V8. Corvettes equipped with this engine were a class all to themselves, with the aluminum head L88 produced 600 horsepower that came up with a heavy-duty suspension, brakes, and handling package. This option for this car actually doubled the price when it was new. I'm just going to skip to the last one, my favorite. We're going to go to this one, which is now the 1969 Chevrolet SS Nova, which is 13.87 seconds. I had one of these. I wasn't
You have a 396?
I had a 350.
Still a fun car.
Mine was orange flame on this, but right now $2,600 new, $50,000 if you wanted to buy it today.
And Nicky and Harrow and Baldwin all made a version of it.
Yeah, Yanko
did
too. Yeah, and there you go. We skipped for time element.
Well, thank you. You just kind of rushed right through.
I did.
Don was giving you the finger.
Yeah, he was.
1 minute
He was
to
giving
go.
me the 1 minute. So.
Yeah. You know,
so to speak.
the way that you put that just didn't give a good light.
Yeah,
So-
but there you go.
Everybody understood it.
Next week, we don't know.
No, we don't. We don't know anything about
anything,
next
no.
week. All right. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In-Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com, and podcasts are at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise in date right here on In Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.